want to shift gears for a moment here and bring the conversation towards the U.S. being competitive in the global marketplace and the jobs picture. And joining us to discuss that as part of our Mangru one-on-one segment, which is being brought to you today by Weiss Research, find them on the web at weissinc.com, is ex-CEO and chairman of Hewlett-Packard and current Senate candidate in California, Carly Fiorina. Carly, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Now, I wanted to start off talking about jobs, and typically the Republican mantra is, well, we're going to create jobs just by lowering taxes. But you and I both know that you can't just lower an income tax and call it a day on jobs. Do you have a real plan on jobs, and how does that differ from just a regular party mantra?
Well, I think we have to be specific about the kinds of tax cuts we need to make. So, for example, I have proposed that we provide a 2-year payroll tax holiday for small businesses that are willing to hire unemployed workers. As another example, I think we ought to motivate companies to bring their overseas profits back home. We are the only country in the world that taxes overseas profits. We ought to allow them to bring those profits back home at a vastly reduced tax rate if they're prepared to invest that money in capital equipment and jobs here in our nation. And finally, I think we have to fight for every job using the tools that other states and other nations use to attract our jobs. So what does China do when it wants to take jobs out of this country? It provides a very attractive package of targeted tax cuts. It provides access to easy credit, and it helps companies streamline their way through regulation. We should be doing all of those very specific things here in this country.
I want to talk about cap and trade for a moment. It's been an area of controversy for you, to say the least. Now, back in 2008, when you were a campaign advisor, senior advisor for John McCain's presidential campaign, you had this to say, and I do quote, "John McCain will create a cap and trade system that encourages the development of alternate energy resources. He will advance clean coal technology and nuclear power, and all of this will both create jobs and lower the cost of energy." Carly, now you're against cap and trade because it raises the cost of energy and kills jobs. So can you please set the record straight for us?
Well, first of all, I, of course, was acting as a surrogate for John McCain in 2008. I am now campaigning on my own behalf, but the fundamental fact is that John McCain's cap and trade bill was substantially different from Barbara Boxer and Barack Obama's cap and trade bill. I believe that setting up a cap and trade market will ultimately be destructive, but the principal reason that I oppose cap and trade as authored by Barbara Boxer and others is the same reason I oppose AB 32 here in California. It does not contemplate a comprehensive energy policy. It does not help us tap more of our own resources, whether those are clean coal or nuclear or offshore drilling or natural gas. It does everything to punish producers of fuel and consumers of fuel. And in fact, we have made it virtually impossible for someone to manufacture any of the technology necessary for us to be leaders in clean green technology. Most nonpartisan estimates are that this cap and trade bill that is currently in the U.S. Senate will kill 3 million jobs and will cost us trillions of dollars worth of lost economic output. And of course, without China, for example, coming to the table, even if we enacted this job-killing piece of legislation, we would have no appreciable impact on global greenhouse gas emissions.
Ben Bernanke, he's declared that the recession is over. When you look at the stock market, the Dow is up over 70% off its March 2009 lows. Yet when you look at the on-the-street economy, personal income's down, unemployment's up. So my question to you is, where's the disconnect?
Well, I think the disconnect, with all due respect to Ben Bernanke, he can declare anything he wants. The reality is that still millions upon millions upon millions of people are out of work, and many millions of those folks have been out of work for over a year. The facts are the unemployment rate isn't coming down. The facts are that for those people who create 2/3 of the new jobs, those being innovators, entrepreneurs, and small business owners in particular, they are continuing to struggle with very, very difficult times. Small business owners are crushed by a tax burden, they're crushed by a regulatory burden, and they are also crushed by the uncertainty right now of what is going to happen to them. So, you know, great for Ben Bernanke. Out here in the real world, people are saying, I don't see it getting appreciably better.
Now, I want to get a bit personal with you. Some people know this, but you're a survivor of breast cancer. It's a tremendous story. And with so many Americans out there right now who are facing adversity, whether it be medical, whether it be financial, or whether it be within their own personal family relationships, what advice do you have to give them about what you use to overcome your own personal adversities?
Well, you know, I'm one of the lucky ones, and as a cancer survivor, I am filled with gratitude. I'm filled with gratitude for so many things. My family, my faith, all of the wonderful cancer survivors that I met along my journey who gave me hope and inspiration. I'm grateful that I had access to good quality medical care, and I believe we must reform our healthcare system to make healthcare affordable and accessible to everyone. And sadly, I think this healthcare bill that passed creates more problems without solving the fundamental problems it was designed to solve. But I hope that my journey with cancer also has made me more empathetic and more compassionate for the trials and tribulations that many people are going through. You know, we all get through tough passages in life the same way. We rely on our faith, we rely on our family, and we rely on the inspiration that others provide us. That's how I got through, and I know that's how others are getting through it.
Carly Fiorina, former CEO and chairman of Hewlett-Packard and current U.S. Senate candidate from the state of California. Carly, thank you very much for coming on the program today.
It's great to be with you. Thanks so much for having me.